The High Line on Manhattan's West Side is a vestige of New York's industrial past and an example of the city's green future.
The High Line was originally built as an elevated railroad. It was built back in the early 1930s.
It was part of a much larger project called the West Side Improvement by Robert Moses as a way to get the freight railroad out of the streets of Manhattan into an elevated place where the trains could run more efficiently and more safely for the people below.
A High Line historically was this freight rail line running for nearly 1.5 miles on the west side of Manhattan. 25 to 30 feet above the street. It ranges from 30 to 50 feet in width.
Like a lot of these warehouses that you see, some of them were meat warehouses, but a lot of them were refrigerated warehouses, and it brought in milk, butter, eggs. It was known as the lifeline of New York.
It used to be here on 14th Street, I would say about 100 wholesalers. And one by one, they couldn't afford the rent. I'm the last one on 14th Street.
The last train was in 1980, a trainload of frozen turkeys to the meat packing right here around Thanksgiving.
The neighborhood changed completely, I would say 100%. And it keeps changing.
The High Line was probably many things to many people. To some people, it was an ugly monstrosity that should be torn down. To others, it was kind of a fantasy, a place to escape to.
What's left of it today is from Gansevoort Street to 34th Street.
Mayor Giuliani wanted to tear it down, all the property owners wanted to tear it down, even a lot of the people in the community, sort of thought it was a blight. By the time I first came up here was in the summer of '99, and by that time there hadn't been any trains up here in about 20 years. The whole line had been overgrown, basically. It was a big, field of wildflowers that changed, with the seasons, and that's one of the things I fell in love with.
It's like many science fiction stories where the jungle finally moves in and eradicates civilization.
It's a somewhat legendary story now, but it was really just Robert Hammond and Josh David, two guys from the neighborhood who decided that probably tearing down the railroad wasn't a good idea.
We said, let's stop, let's think about this before we demolish it. And one of the first things we did was have this photographer, Joel Sternfeld, come up here and capture it. And, that's what people fell in love with, Joel's pictures of the High Line.
And the moment people saw that, they said this is a green space in New York like none that we've ever had.
And that became, in some ways, the inspiration for the design. This wildscape growing, with views of the Empire State Building and the Hudson River. I think that's what inspired what we're actually building up here now.
It's going to be essentially a park in the sky.
When we started thinking about design, I think it came back to that problem of how do you let the public come up and still maintain the essence of what made this place so glorious and wonderful in the Joel Sternfeld photographs.
In order to waterproof it and to make it safe for the public, unfortunately we had to remove everything that was up here to begin with. And that's really what we had fallen in love with, was this sort of wildscape, the wildflowers, the wild grasses.
Our strategy was to try to respect and amplify some of the strange, otherworldly characteristics of the High Line.
And so what the designers came up with was this system of concrete planks that mesh into the planting. So the planting will almost feel like it's overtaking, the paths you're walking on.
So you could feel that at any point, if you weren't careful, it would become overgrown with plants once again.
Hopefully we'll have all of the magic and charm of a found landscape in the city, a surprise, if you will.
There were a lot of huge obstacles in the beginning, and a lot of people with a lot of experience in a lot of different areas, architecture, design, fundraising, politics, came and helped us overcome zoning issues, real estate issues, community issues. People were excited about having a dream.
With this highlight, it's going to be open Gonna be a park up there. It's unbelievable. Probably I'm gonna take my lunch over there.
First and foremost, I want this for people that live in the city, that live in the neighborhood, that this is their park. They feel comfortable in it. They feel a sense of ownership of it. And then I think people all over the world have a sense of ownership of New York. And, you know, I hope people will come here and they think, you know, this is my park.
Go to thehighline.org to learn more about your future park.